Welcome to a Legendarium special about Tran Hung Dao, the Vietnamese warrior who defeated the Mongols. In this episode, we will learn about a man who defeated Kublai Khan's Mongols by land and sea. Tran Hung Dao, also called Hung Dao Vuong, came into the world sometime during the year 1229. His precise birthday is not known for certain, but Tran's great-uncle served as imperial regent for the Li dynasty. When Granduncle Tran grew displeased with the weak emperor, he seized the throne and forced the emperor to begin a second career as a monk. Emperor Tran then married off the old emperor's daughter to his nephew, Tran Hung Dao. This elevated Tran Hung Dao to the rank of imperial prince and eventually grand commander of the Vietnamese military. Relatively little is known of his early years, though it seems almost certain he served his great-uncle in the army. By the early 1280s, the Vietnamese Empire faced a growing threat from the Mongols under Kublai Khan, who conquered China during the previous decades. Emperor Tran and Tran Hung Dao received a Mongol ambassador who demanded tribute from the Empire of Vietnam. The imperial family, mindful of their country's long struggle for freedom against the Chinese Empire, flatly refused. Some accounts claim that they shot the ambassador full of arrows and then sent his corpse home as their response. Tran Hung Dao, in a rousing speech to his army, called for unity in the face of Mongol aggression. He bellowed, "In the face of these dangers to the fatherland, I fail to eat during the day and to sleep at night. Tears roll down my cheeks and my heart bleeds as if it were being cut to shreds. I tremble with anger because I cannot eat our enemy's flesh, lie down in his skin, chew up his liver, and drink his blood. I would gladly surrender my life 1,000 times on the field of battle if I could do these things." He strengthened discipline within the high command, cracking down on officers engaging in idle pleasures like rooster fights, gambling, and spending time in the gardens. Supposedly, he once asked, "If the enemy comes, will your rooster's spurs be able to pierce his armor?" When the Mongols invaded the Red River Valley in northern Vietnam in 1283, Tran gave way before the invaders. For now. In 1285, the Mongols invaded the capital at modern-day Hanoi and burned the city to ashes. Tran saved the emperor by personally fighting his way through hordes of Mongols, the imperial family running behind him. His warriors retreated into the mountain jungles. From there, they launched bloody raids against Mongol supply trains, hammered outposts, and then disappeared before the Mongols could gather. When the Mongols approached a town, Tran ordered it evacuated and commanded the fleeing citizens to burn anything they could not carry. That left the Mongols only a smoldering wasteland to rule. By 1286, the Mongols lost so many men and gained so little that they withdrew for the rest of the campaign season. Yet when the Mongols returned the following year, they made the spearhead of their invasion a massive naval force of 500 gigantic Chinese-built warships. This colossal armada sailed up the Bach Dang River into the heart of Vietnam. By doing so, the Mongols avoided the jungles and swamps that caused their land forces so much trouble in earlier years. They faced only a small fleet of flat-bottomed Vietnamese ships that resembled canoes. An overconfident Mongol admiral ordered a direct attack. After a brief fight, the Vietnamese fell back and the Mongols pursued them, determined to crush the resistance once and for all. During their pursuit, the tide went out, and only then did the Mongols see Tran's master plan. His men planted bronze-tipped bamboo spikes in the bed of the Bach Dang River, turning it into a giant punji pit. While the small Vietnamese boats avoided the spear points with ease, the Mongol ships either impaled themselves on the spears or simply sank. Tran borrowed this strategy from another Vietnamese warrior named Go Nguyen, but he added his own twists. In a second nasty surprise for the Mongols, the fireboats appeared, dozens of burning ships which sailed straight into the Mongol formation. They crashed into the Mongol ships and set them ablaze. Finally, Tran ordered his pre-positioned archers on the riverbanks to begin showering the Mongol fleet with fire arrows. Within an hour, one of the largest invasion fleets in medieval history became a raging inferno of charred wood and burning corpses. The Mongols lost a staggering 400 ships and 80,000 men in one day, including their admiral. The admiral's son only escaped death by hiding in a drainage ditch. Meanwhile, the Vietnamese only lost 4,000 soldiers and sailors. After the catastrophe on the Bach Dang, the Mongols made peace and never invaded Vietnam again. Tran himself died in the year 1300 at the age of 73. His family spread his ashes under his favorite tree. However, his legend lived on, an everlasting inspiration to his countrymen. As Tran himself said, "Every century has produced heroes who have sacrificed their lives for their country. If they had remained at home to die by the fire, would their names have been inscribed on bamboo and silk to live eternally in heaven and on the earth?" His speeches and writings are now staples of Vietnamese literature. Most Vietnamese cities have streets named after him, and he is revered as Great Lord Hung Dao, something of a national saint. In Vietnamese popular religion, he is worshipped as an exorcist who can drive away evil spirits, especially those that trouble women having children. His main temple is in Kiep Bach in northern Vietnam, but he also has an altar at most Dao Mao temples. In sacred art, he usually sits to the left of the gods on the main altar, a place of honor for the man who saved Vietnam. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.